Yo, yo, what is up, guys? It's Cohen back here again today with another video. The Thunder just finished playing the Spurs. It is our final game of the first half of the regular season, and I thought I'd make a video kind of just recapping as a Thunder fan what the first half of the season was like, what were my positives, what were my negatives. Just to be warned, there are like no negatives whatsoever. This was a fantastic first half of the season. I could not have asked for more as a fan of a Thunder team that was supposedly rebuilding. I mean, we are rebuilding, but we're not as bad as many people expected us to be. We're competitive on almost every single night. There are some nights, like the game against the Mavericks the other day, where we're just not quite there. It happens with a team that's this young, but the vets have played well, the young guys have played well. So many people have impressed me, and I kind of just want to talk about that with y'all. In the next couple of days, I'm going to be making more videos talking about the first half of the season, including some videos about predicting the second half of the season. So if you're looking forward to those, drop a subscribe, drop a like. Also, I'm still using this mic, but I'm trying to figure out how the hell to use this Yeti that one of my roommates just found somewhere. So I'm trying to figure that out. If you have tips for me, leave them below in the comments. And now I'll just go ahead and get into it. I think the big item is, of course, what was our record at this point. That's like the overall standing of how the season's going. And for a team that a lot of people, honestly me included, projected us to be towards the bottom of the conference, we are kind of in that area. But with a win tonight, we are 15 and 21 on the season, which isn't that bad, just 6 games below 500, and that makes us tied for the 11th seed with the Pelicans right now. And if the Kings end up winning, then them too. If they end up losing, then they're behind us. And that's not bad at all for a team that was supposed to be like the 15, 14 seed. That's really not that bad. Now, if you're trying to get a good draft pick, it's not optimal. You might want to lose a little bit more, which I definitely think might happen in the second half of the season, because I fully expect us to trade some of our veterans, guys that I'll talk about in a second. And yeah, so I can't complain at all. Before I get to the players, another guy that I really need to talk about is Mark Daigneault, our coach. Phenomenal. He's been incredible, done an incredible job. He has impressed me so much. He's had some creative inbounds plays. He has all the guys playing hard every single night. The players really seem to respect him, and he has a great relationship with them. I love his coaching style. I love his teaching approach. I think that's great for a rebuilding team. It's very evident that he coached in the G League for a little bit because he focused a lot on development, and he has been a great development coach. So many of these young players, and just everyone in general, he is getting the most out of these players on every single night, and it's made so many guys have the best seasons of their career in some aspects. And in fact, almost all of these guys are having the best year of their career, and that's a lot to ask for from a young team. A team that didn't have very high expectations, and Mark Daigneault gets the best out of them every single night. I was fully on board with whoever Presti picked. He picked Mark Daigneault. I was like, okay, I guess we'll see how it goes. It's gone phenomenally. I'm so happy to have him as our coach, and he's a guy that I could see being the coach when we eventually return to contention and hopefully win that title with this young core, bringing in some draft picks. Now, some outside stuff that we can't really control. So in case you don't know, the Thunder have possession of our own pick, and we get we get the best two of our pick, the Heat's pick, and the Rockets pick. Now the Heat have been taking off. It's not going to be them. So we're going to get the best two of our pick and the Rockets pick most likely. However, there's a wrench thrown into that. If the Rockets end up top four in the lottery and inevitably the draft, if they have a top 4 pick, we don't get that pick and we just get Miami's pick. And the Rockets have been really bad to end this stretch of the season. They're on a 13-game losing streak right now that I don't know if it'll end anytime soon. It just fully depends when Christian Wood gets healthy, because without him, that team looks super lost. They're just bad. And I don't know if they're going to trade a piece. They might trade like an Oladipo. They might trade off a PJ Tucker and Eric Gordon, pieces that help them win games. So I don't even know how much Christian Wood's going to help them win. And that's probably smart for them because they don't want us to get their pick. They would like that top 4 pick. So I'm praying, even with the worst record, it's only a pretty much a 50-50 chance if they fall out or not, at least according to the odds. So fingers crossed that they end up giving their pick to us. Now, I don't think they're going to catch like the Timberwolves or the Pistons. I think those two teams are going to be worse than them. So I think at best, in terms of odds, they'll be at the 3rd pick, which gives us a pretty good chance to end up snagging it if they fall just 2 spots. So I'm not feeling too bad about that. I am upset that the Heat started to go on a huge run. So now it's looking like we're either going to get 2 like top 10 picks, or we're going to get a top 10 pick and a pick way off in the 20s. So there's that. Same also with the Warriors. If the Warriors pick is projected over 20, then we will get it. It's looking like that's probably going to be the case at this point, depending on how the Western Conference plays out. If the Warriors can stay healthy, we'll see. But right now, it's looking somewhat likely that we'll get that pick, which could make it 3-4 draft picks in this draft, which is awesome to see. So now I'm finally going to get into the meat of the video, which is the players. Obviously, the guy I have to start with, the guy whose jersey. Some people said they don't know what jersey this is. Like, if you follow me on Twitter, if you watch this account, you can look at the picture on my YouTube profile. It's a Gilgeous-Alexander jersey. I didn't pull it up high enough. There's a 2. My favorite player, the star of this team, Gilgeous-Alexander, a phenomenal first half of the season. Could not have asked for better. He's fully taken on this role as the leader of the team and done it miles better than most people would have predicted. I predicted he'd be an all-star before the season. I still think he should have been an all-star. It's not looking like anyone else is going to sit out, so it's looking like he's going to miss out on that, unfortunately. It's all right. The consecutive all-star streak will just have to start next season. I see him as being a perennial all-star guy, but I think the big thing he's proven is that not only can he be, I think he can be our number one option when we win a championship. I think he's proven that. He's 22 years old, averaging around 23 points per game. It says right now in Basketball Reference that he's averaging 22.9, but that's before his 33-point performance today is factored in. And so I think he's going to be right above or right at that 23 points per game mark, which is an amazing, easily his highest scoring of his entire career. He scored around 19 last season, up to 23. And the huge thing is it's not like he's just chucking shots because he's a bad team. He's doing it super efficiently too. He's one of the most efficient volume scorers in the entire NBA at age of 22. That's crazy. He's shooting 51% from the field and 41% from three as a 22-year-old. He has no other playmakers. No one else is creating shots for him. He leads the league in drives to the basket, and almost all of his takes to the basket are unassisted. He is making these opportunities, and I've never seen someone have such an ability to slither in through the defense and finish at the rim. It's like Kyrie-esque, some of the finishes he has, and the slitheriness that he has, his ability to get around contact, is something that I've never seen before. He is truly a unique player in this league. I'm so happy that we have him as our franchise cornerstone, and I think that he not only has proven that he can be our best scorer on a future championship team, but his playmaking has been incredible too. He's averaging over 6 assists per game. After tonight, we're at around 9 assists. I think it'll be just under 6.5 assists per game. He's killing it. He's been amazing as a playmaker, and he might be averaging close to double-digit assists if we had more offensive weapons on this team. Because if you watch us play, the amount of times he'll kick out to an open shooter and they just kind of miss, it's really unfortunate because he should be averaging so many more assists, and more people start to be able to knock down those shots. But some of the passes he makes, if you watch the Spurs game tonight, his ability to bounce pass, and similarly to the way he dodges contact, the way he's able to throw the pass around contact and get guys open is unreal. It's so amazing, and it's crazy to see that from him at 22 years old. I think the Chris Paul mentorship was huge for him. He's a leader for this team. He's a great playmaker. He's a great scorer. He's clutch. He does everything for this team. He should have been an all-star, and I believe he's going to be the guy that helped take us to the promised land eventually. I'm super happy to have him. Next, I'll talk about Darius Bazley, a guy who I think has one of the higher ceilings on the team. He's been kind of up and down so far this season. He's shooting very poorly from three. That's probably the biggest negative of this season, is the fact that he hasn't been a prolific three-point shooter. He shoots about 5.2 per game, shoots about 29% on them. Not good at all, but he's improving. It was really bad to start the season, and he's slowly improving. He's shooting below 40%. He's very young. He's only 20 years old, and he has some consistent performances that really show you how good he can be. He's super athletic. He's a great rebounder. He is the youngest player in the NBA to lead his team in rebounding. He averages 7.4 rebounds per game. Rebounding is a huge issue of ours, and he is the reason why it's not just an absolute detriment, why we don't get murdered on the boards every night. He's kind of a walking double-double at this point in his career, averaging about just under 12 points per game. I think he's going to be really, really good. Even if he's not quite there yet, once he finds his consistency, that's the next step to him becoming a star in this league. Next, almost everyone's favorite player. If you don't watch the Thunder, either him or SGA are your favorite player. Probably the most amenable guy on the team is Dort, a guy undrafted coming into his second season. People weren't sure where to place him. I personally did not expect him to make the offensive jump that he has. He has been phenomenal offensively. And while he's not shooting it back up the 40% clip from three that he was to start the season, he's shooting around 33% from three, which isn't bad at all for a guy that a lot of people thought was the worst offensive player in the entire NBA last season. He's been really good as a defender. Obviously, I think he's at least through the first half of the season, he should be on an all-defensive team. If they did like a halfway point awards thing, I think he would be on that team. He's just been really good. He's shown a lot of ability to finish around the rim, and as he continues to grow, he is so strong, and his ability to just push off from contact. As he grows as a player and as he finds more go-to moves, I think his scoring will improve a lot as well. He leads the league in offensive fouls drawn, which is a huge hallmark of how good of a defender he is. I don't ever see Dort make fouls. I feel like the only time they call fouls on Dort is because he's just so strong that he knocks the guy over. He plays such fundamentally sound defense, and he's super young at 21 years old, an undrafted player. We were very lucky to get him, and I'm super happy to have Dort on this team. Plus, that game winner he had a couple days ago was amazing. Then we get to some of the vets. I want to talk about Al Horford, who's been phenomenal for us this season. He was a great pickup from Philly. He has that massive contract. But the fact is that he has played well enough where there are people in my Twitter mentions asking me what I would want in a trade for Al Horford. And before the season, that did not seem like a possibility because he has a massive contract. And now people are like, yo, what would it take to get Al Horford on my team? I'd love to see Al Horford on my team. I don't expect to see him get traded at the deadline just because of that massive contract. I think teams would rather wait a season or two till that contract becomes a little more manageable. There's only a few years left. Right now, there's kind of a lot of time left on it. I believe there's still 3 years left on that contract. So people might wait till there's one where they're more likely to swallow that contract if he's still an effective player next season and beyond. But he has been really effective, shooting 35.6% from three, 44.2% from the field. He's been resting on the back half of back-to-backs, maybe to keep him healthy for a trade. Once again, I don't expect to see him traded, but Sam Presti's pulled off crazier things. He's just been a great veteran presence, also averaging 6.7 rebounds and 3.5 assists. He's really, really good. He's a great center. I think a lot of teams could use him. He's a great defensive anchor. Like a team like the Celtics could use him back. They have a big trade exception. Maybe they would go for him. The Bulls, I know a lot of Bulls fans have reached out to me and asked about him. So maybe Al Horford ends up on your favorite team. But I've loved having him. He's a great veteran player. He just makes all the right decisions. And I think he's another great mentor in a long line of great mentors for this team. Then we get into George Hill. George Hill is a guy I would not be surprised if he hasn't played his last game in a Thunder jersey. I think his Thunder career is pretty much over. He's been sitting out with an injury. It just keeps getting delayed back, and I think he's getting moved at the deadline. He's been just as good as he was last season in terms of shooting. He's averaging about 11.8 points per game, 38.6 from three. He's a sniper. Any team would like him. I think a team like Philly is going to come get him or something. Really, any team wants George Hill. I would say the Clippers would come get him, but I don't think we're going to trade him there because I think we want Kawhi Leonard to leave, so those Clippers picks are more valuable. George Hill won't be on the team past the deadline. I don't think so, and he did phenomenal in his time for the Thunder. I'm super happy that we got to watch him play for a little bit. A couple more young guys. Theo Maledon, absolute steal in the second round. Looks super mature for a 19-year-old. Just makes all the right plays. And he's a guy that I think is going to be a long-term piece for this team. He's a playmaker. He's a scorer. He's knocked down the three ball at a way higher proficiency than I expected him to coming out of the draft. He's just really good. He has a lot of potential. Hamidou Diallo, also a guy who a lot of people weren't sure how he was going to fit into this team for the long-term future. He looks like a huge piece for this team. I could see him as our sixth man of the year, or as a sixth man of the year candidate down the line, and as our sixth man while we're trying to compete for championships. He just fights to the rim every single time. Still not a good three-point shooter, but his ability to finish at the rim is crazy for that young age. He's super strong, he's super athletic, and his ability to go up and get his own rebound off of the missed shot is unreal. It's not like anyone in this league. Then another young guy, Isaiah Roby. This guy a lot of people wanted cut before the season. He started a lot of games at center for us, and he's proven his worth. He's been really good. I project him more, I think, as a power forward long term, but I mean, if he bulks up a little bit, I could see him being a small ball center. I don't know. When Al Horford gets moved, he'll probably start at the center for us for the rest of the season. If Al Horford gets moved, I don't think he will get moved, but I think Isaiah Roby is a piece for the future too. A lot of these guys this season have just proved, I think, that they're pieces for the future. Another guy I could talk about for the future is Ty Jerome, a guy who has just recently made his Thunder debut, been super impactful in the very few minutes he's gotten at only 23 years old. Played a lot of solid minutes in Hamidou Diallo's absence. He missed the last few games before the All-Star break, and I think he's a long-term piece, and not just because I'm a UVA fan, but because I think he showed it on the court in the minutes he's gotten so far. Then the last guy I could really talk about is Pokusevski. He's been playing in the G League. His shooting is just not there yet, but he's shown a lot of flashes, great flashes of playmaking, defense. I'm very high on him. I think he's going to be incredible. He's been great in the G League. I think once he comes back up after the G League bubble, he's going to have some great minutes for us, and I expect big things out of him. Not soon, but later in his career. All right, that's pretty much all the young guys. Really just comes down to the last few veterans. Guys like, I'll give a shout out to Justin Jackson real quick. 25 years old, been kind of thrown around the league. Really good. Or really solid role player. He's had some flashes. He had some big games for us, and I'm happy to see him excelling. Like I said, a lot of guys on this team are having career years. Another guy I could talk about is Mike Muscala. He's been great. 29 years old. This has been the best season of his entire career so far. He's a sniper from three. Another guy that I could see getting moved at the trade deadline, although that would kill me because I love watching Mike Muscala hit threes. Should have been in the three-point contest, whatever. He's a sniper. Any team could use a stretch big like him. And finally, I'll talk about the last guy who kind of gets big minutes is Kenrich Williams, a guy who we kind of got as just a throw-in in the Steven Adams trade to the Pelicans. Kenrich Williams is great. He's a hustle guy. He makes all the right plays. I'd love to have him as a role player later down the line, especially since he's still young. He's only 26 years old, so there's still a lot of time for him to be a solid role player. I'm just really happy for him. And once again, like I said, he's having a career season. Every night I feel like we go into a game and the fans of that team tweet at me like, "Yo, who the hell is this Kenrich Williams guy, and why is he actually like really good?" I think it's because they see the mullet; they don't expect him to be good. But Kenny Mullet's gonna kill you, and you better watch out for him. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, not many negatives. This was an incredible first half of the season. I love being a Thunder fan. The basketball has been super fun to watch. This is one of my favorite teams, even though we're bad, because we exceed so many people's expectations, similarly to last season. And people are finally starting to take notice of SGA. They're taking notice of Dort. They're taking notice of how good this team could be and how good this team is going to be very soon. Not to mention we have a league leading 17 draft picks in the next few drafts. You know, that's what Sam Presti does. So look out for trade deadline news involving the Thunder. Like I said, I think at least George Hill's getting moved. I wouldn't be surprised if we got in a 3-team deal, and I would not be surprised if another guy like Mike Muscala is moved. I don't know why my camera just lagged so bad. I just like fast forwarded for a second. I don't know what that was. I apologize. But if you made it this far, comment SGA should have been an all-star. And yeah, Thunder up for the second half. I will see you guys later. Real and say bye.